Hi, I'm Louise. I'm an avid needle pointer, and I just wanted to show some of my pillows that I have and kind of talk through them and what inspired me to do the canvases and how I finished each one. Um, I've been needle pointing since I was about 18, so over a decade, and I'm gotten into crochet in the last year, and I'm trying to learn how to knit. I love the knitting YouTube and the fiber arts community on YouTube and social media. I just think it's amazing. I also love the needlepoint social media community as well. And of course, I'm more of a stitcher, so I just have a lot of canvases and I'm obsessed with stitching, and I just wanted to kind of show some of my things that I have. And at first I thought I'd start out with my needlepoint pillows. So they're all behind me. I have 6 in total. Here's my dog Ladybug. Say hello. She's a Sealyham Terrier, and I just got her this year. She's 4 years old and retired, a retired girl. So we've been together almost 2 months now. Best friends, best friends. She's my second Sealyham Terrier. If you don't know about Sealyham Terriers, they're really silly, and they're the clowns and couch potatoes of the terrier group. They're very loving, and they have great beards. Yes, you do, don't you? And but they're also very feisty. They can be. They like to be very protective of their yard. But they're very gentle. My other one did something where it was called a Sealy sit, and they sit up on their hindquarters, and Ladybug doesn't do that, but Ladybug's name was actually Lady, but I lengthened it to Ladybug, and then my sister said that her first name is Lucky, so Lucky Ladybug. Okay, Ladybug, are you gonna let me film this? You gonna let me film? Okay. So, let me show you my pillow. So I have Ladybug. She's just gonna stay with me. I tried to put her down, but it didn't work. So I'm gonna walk through the first pillow that I ever stitched, which is this one. It's by Beehive Needle Arts, I believe. And I had it finished into a boxed edged pillow with this light seafoam green velvet that kind of matches the background thread. And then I did this really pretty floral. And I got this finished from Needlepoint Clubhouse in St. Louis. So pretty. I don't know if you can see, but it's a lady, a face. There's the face. And then here's all the fruit hats. And I did all of this in straw silk. So I did a lot of decorative stitches. I had just kind of really gotten into decorative stitches, and I really wanted to showcase that I could do them. And I had a great time doing this. This kind of reminds me of, I'm a nurse, and I was a travel nurse, and I was actually working in Memphis, Tennessee at the time when I was working on this one. I got this canvas though at Needlepoint This in Dallas, Texas. They have some of the most like different, unique canvases. Like if you've been needlepointing like a longer time than just like the last couple of years, which is very like a lot of sayings and grand millennial bows, which I love and adore, but I also like to stitch things that are like kind of like seeming like an older needlepoint style as well. Because this is all done in straw silk, this is a kind of a fragile pillow, so I don't think I'll really ever have it where like someone can sit on it, or if it is, it'll be like a pillow that, or like a seat that's like rarely used. Right now I just kind of have it on display in my house. I live in a like 1-bedroom little place right now, but someday I'll have it on kind of display, but make sure that nobody puts their back on it. You can see kind of there's like a little bit of fraying right here, which is my fault. I didn't tack it down well enough. And just from, but I think it's held up. I got this finished in 2022. Yeah, 2022. Because by that time I was travel nursing in St. Louis. So, I don't remember exactly the same order of stitching. This is my most recent pillow that I have gotten finished. Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, which is by Morgan Julia Designs. She did an exclusive with Courtly Canvas in Houston, Texas. And I did this, the background is in wool, Planet Earth wool. Very similar to like yarns and everything, which mostly, you know, you have cotton, you have wool, obviously, and then just different types. It's kind of how thread is too. I did the horse and the cowboy and the like clouds, dust, in blue velvet. I did this all in velvet. And then I did the wording in wool as well, Planet Earth wool, which I like working with wool. I think it's very fun. And wool can be worked, even though it's different canvas size, wool is actually the type of thread that can be worked on 18 mesh canvas and 13 mesh. So it just depends on what you're working. This is a 13 mesh canvas, and this was also a 13 mesh canvas, which straw silk right now is not in production, which is what this was all in. And she's gonna come back. I think there was just a little bit of a delay or something was going on with the factory. I'm not really sure, but it was one of my favorite threads to work with, and it was perfect for like if you wanted things to kind of look like truly like straw or like hay, or it was great for like hair, trees, anything that you wanted to kind of like resemble something that would have like kind of straw like, you know, to it. This obviously is Western, but I wanted it to kind of look a little different too. So I did a Tibetan tiger on the back, or I'm not sure if it's Tibetan or Tibetan, and I'm not sure. And then I was actually working on this canvas in Terlingua, Texas for my friend's birthday last June in 2025. And I don't know, probably it's pretty rare that people go to Terlingua. It's a ghost town in Texas. There's not a lot there. It's kind of closer to the border. And it's just really dry and hot. But it's near like this really cool golf course, and people like to stay there. It's called Lajitas, so it's not like that far of a drive. But anyway, in this little town, there's a quilt shop, and in that quilt shop was a probably 80-year-old woman who was working all by herself, and she was so sweet. She wore like blue eyeshadow, and instead of like a walker, she had 2 canes that she would walk around with. And you could tell she knew the area really well. She was like telling us about like where to go, and like she pulled out an old school map and like was like showing us. I like have a video of her talking to us. So one of my friends actually got this really cool pouch, and they had like quilts ready made and then just different fabrics in the store. Anyway, so I got this really fun like bandana print, and this was finished in Lubbock, Texas. It's an interior, there's an interior design firm that also can make pillows. And I went in because I was in Lubbock, and I just saw that fabric, and I was still working on the canvas later in June, and I was just like, that would look so cool. Just kind of like a different, you know, vibe with it. So that was also finished into a box edge pillow. And then I have this really pretty plum stitchery or plum design by Joanna. It's a really cool strawberry. And this is the canvas I learned officially how to basket weave. I was doing continental for like ever and ever, and finally I was like, at a rainbow wall retreat in St. Louis, and Lauren, who works there, if I don't know if you follow Needlepoint Clubhouse on Instagram, her and Megan, the owner, they usually will do the finishing Tuesdays. So she was like, Louise, you need to learn how to basket weave. And I was like, I know, it's just kind of confusing to me. And she like sat down with me and was like, okay, here's the step and here's the pole. And I was like, a light just went off and I was like, click. And then I was able to do it. And so you can, I know, but you really, people say you can't tell that someone's doing continental versus basket weave, but I think the longer you stitch, you can tell if someone is doing continental versus basket weave, because the reason why, if you want to be a stitcher long term and want your threads and your canvases to look really well, is basket weave like doesn't pull on the canvas. So you can tell that someone's doing continental because it kind of warps the canvas a little bit, whereas basket weave keeps everything like interlocked. So and that's why for me, I can tell that here I was doing continental and then here I was doing basket weave. And I think it turned out really pretty. This is a irregular shape box edge pillow. This was finished by an Instagram finisher who I think now has like a long waiting list. But I used all silken ivory for the red, the blue, and the green. And then I used, which I don't think you would be able to tell on camera, but the seeds are silk lame and they're shiny. So I think it's really pretty. I love it. And I worked on this, I think, when it was in 2022. And then I remember going to like Santa Fe with it with my sister and mom. So I took this with me. And actually I'm doing this canvas again, but I'm doing it, I was inspired by Mason House Needlepoint on Instagram. She also has like a little online store too. She picks really cool canvases that are a little bit different. And she did this canvas, but she made the strawberry purple. And I was like, oh, I just want to do that, but I already did it red. And so my oldest sister was, she had this canvas in her stash and she was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And I was like, okay. And so I took it and I've painted it green. The strawberry will be green. The leaves are blue and the seeds are orange and the background will be this pretty purple. So yeah, it's really fun. And yeah, another thing with me and like stitching is I like to, it depends on which canvas and I like how I want to add dimension to the canvas. Like most of the time I'm great with like doing different threads and I go all in, but on some canvases like this one, I'm like, I'm not going to use like silken ivory here and then like pepperbot here. You know what I mean? I don't know, because each type of thread, this is a silken ivory, if you're not familiar with needlepoint, is a wool and silk blend. And then pepperpot is just straight silk. So if you're stitching like a pillow and you want it to be able to be like utilized, like someone can actually like lay their head and you're not worried about your stitching. Like I am so worried about my straw silk fruit hat lady because she's silk and this is a mixed silk and wool. Like this one, this is more durable versus that. So like if you're making like a keychain or like something that like a belt, definitely you want to do those all in wool versus using silk. Like I would tell someone don't use silk at all on a belt, especially because it's going to be used and those can last forever if you use wool. You could use a wool and silk blend as long as it has wool in it. I would never just use pure silk though. It's just too fragile. So then I had this really cute Colors of Praise canvas and it is a cool rainbow and I kind of did like a sampler on it and I was inspired by my sister Emily. She did this canvas as well and I was just like, I love it. Now I also did kind of the same thing. This is all in silk and ivory. I'm pretty sure all of it is. And this is a 13 mesh canvas and still a boxed edge pillow. Actually, all my pillows are boxed edge. I don't have a knife edge pillow yet. I don't know if I'll ever do that. I kind of like the way the boxed edge look is. And then if you're unfamiliar, like most pillows you see in a department store, those are knife edge like pillows. And then these are boxed edge. You can see like a boxed. And then of course there's boxed edge stand-ups and knife edge stand-ups too, if you're kind of familiar with the needlepoint world. And then I put my initials on the back, and I did it in a same red because I didn't want to be like super noticeable. But this was really fun to work on, and I got to do like some different stitches that I hadn't really thought of doing before, so that was fun. Then I did this Thorn Alexander needlepoint pillow. And I'm a big fan of velvet, so I think 1, 2, 3, 4 of my pillows are made with velvet. This is all done in basket weave, and I did this in silk and ivory as well. So, and then I did like a really pretty green contrasting welt with this pink velvet on the back and on the front. So you can also, if you're thinking like, how should I finish my pillow? You know, this is a knife, or this is a boxed edge, but you can also do it where it doesn't have, I'm trying to think of what this is called, but like you don't have to have this center piece if you don't want to. More so with like a knife edge. If it's boxed, I think you really should probably have it. I don't know if they can finish it like that, or if they can, it's a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I love that canvas. She also came out after that canvas was actually pretty popular, so she came out with a really big strawberry one. And I was like, oh, that'd be so fun to stitch too. This was actually the second canvas out of all these canvases that I completed, and I did a really cool fruit bowl. There's a theme going on here. I love stitching like fruits and foods and wearing fruits and foods. It's just kind of something I like to do. And this one I kind of was like exploring a lot of like different threads. So this one I was like in the mindset of wanting to try different threads, so I just like went to town, versus sometimes in another headspace I'm in, I like will only do like one type of thread with different colors. And I don't know why I'm like that, okay? But this is actually in a pepper pot, you know, which is a variegated thread, the blue background. Which tip, if you're doing basket weave with a variegated thread, do continental. Don't do basket weave. You need to do continental, because if you're doing basket weave with a variegated thread, you're just going to see stripes. So it's not going to really look like a big color variation. It's just going to be stripes. I mean, if you want stripes, that's great, then do that. But it's just kind of like a little tip. But this is also a 13 mesh canvas. This is by Winnetka Stitchery, I believe. Yes. And I saw this like on a Needlepoint store's Instagram a long time ago. I think it's Louisa's Needlepoint. I think they're based out in Illinois. I did, this might be Vineyard Silk. And then this is a pepper pot, and I did continental because I, at the time, wasn't actually doing a lot of basket weave. But I could do decorative stitches. Basket weave is actually really hard to learn, and if you're trying to learn it, it's okay. Don't feel bad about yourself or anything like that. I would say decorative stitches are actually easier to learn, some of them, versus basket weave. Because I remember my sister, who's an advanced stitcher, has been stitching since she was like 12 continuously. She was trying to teach me basket weave, and also I think if you have a sister and they're trying to teach you something, you're just kind of like, I don't understand what you're saying. So she kind of gave up on me. But this one was really fun. I did Splendor, Straw Silk, Very Velvet, Silk Lame, Very Velvet, Straw Silk, Did lots of different stitches. This is Nobuku. This is diagonal mosaic, a Byzantine, and then this one's just like continental. I just was trying to add some cool, oh, this is cashmere right here where the lemon is, and I did that in like a Threadworks, which I love. It's so pretty. I love this canvas. I want to do, one of my favorite designers is actually Silver Needle, and I'm trying to do like the whole fruits. And I'm doing those all in basket weave just because like it's just the simplicity. Sometimes with needlepoint, the more simple, like if you just stick with the basket weave, I mean, the canvas speaks for itself if you add different colors. So that's how I feel. I don't always feel the need to do a decorative stitch because I like to do basket weave, and I usually always have a basket weave canvas that I'm working on. And there's actually some needlepointers out there, a lot of stitchers will only do basket weave, and or they're a scooper basket weaver. By the way, I'm not a big fan of scooping. I think it messes with the canvas too much, but if that's you, cool. And I know some stitchers don't like to use stretcher bars. I've heard like kind of northeastern area of the United States. I don't know how true this is because I've never actually stitched with people from there. But I have a friend who did, and she was like, they all stitch in hand, which means no stretcher bars, and they all basket weave, which I think is cool. It's very old school, which like OG needlepoint was mostly wool, especially if like you go into the needlepoint store and you're talking to people who have been stitching for 50 years, that's really all that was available to them. There was no silk lame, vineyard silk. There was just plain wool, which I think is cool in and of itself, but there's so many options now, and I hope it continues that more people come up with new things. So my last pillow that I'll show today is my Silver Needle seashell pillow, which funny enough, this is an actually 12 mesh canvas. I did this all in silk and ivory, and I loved working on this canvas. This means a lot to me. I have a really strong nursing friend group that we all went to TCU in Fort Worth, and we've all stayed in touch. And they were so kind, and during the loss of my last Sealyham Terrier, she died in last March. They all like got together and got me a little gift card, and I got this, and I worked on it, and it helped me with my grief, and I'm so thankful for them and their support. But yeah, I did all this in basket weave, and I don't know why they painted this on a 12 mesh canvas, but it's 12 mesh. And this was also finished at the interior design firm in Lubbock. So I did this they have so many fabrics because they're an interior design firm and they redo furniture all the time. So I did this kind of mauve-y fabric, and then this really pretty seafoam sage green welt. And this is a boxed edge, obviously a regular boxed edge pillow. And their pillows are so cool. A lot of the needlepoint places don't give you like a zipper. So anyway, it's really cool. So those are all my needlepoint pillows. And this is my first YouTube sit down video talking about needlepoint, and I hope to do many more and show some of my crochet projects and show some of my eventually knitting projects, and we'll see how it goes. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.